backstabbing, betrayal, turning your back on teammates and fans. Is there anything more shocking in sports than star players abandoning their teams? Get ready for a wild ride through the shadiest double crosses in NBA history. Strap in as we count down the 10 biggest traitors to ever bounce a basketball. You won't believe the scandals, conspiracies, and insider secrets that went down behind the scenes. How far would you go to chase a ring or bigger contract? By the end, you'll be wondering who you can really trust in the NBA. Let's jump right in. Loyalty is supposed to mean everything in sports. But throughout NBA history, there have been players who turned their backs on teams that drafted them or handed them massive contracts. Today, we're counting down 10 of the biggest traitors and backstabbers in league history. What could drive a player to force a trade or ditch their squad in free agency? How did teams and fans react to these controversial betrayals? Stick around as we explore the shadiest exits, tanked relationships, and public outcries over players chasing rings and bigger paydays. You may be surprised at some of the superstars who made our list. From angry rioting in the streets to burning jerseys, these players left scorched bridges and broken hearts in their wake. Let's get started with number 10. Kevin Durant spurned the Thunder to join the Warriors after losing to them in the playoffs. It was seen as a weak move to join a stacked team that just beat him. Kevin Durant's decision to leave the Oklahoma City Thunder and sign with the Golden State Warriors in 2016 went down as one of the weakest and most controversial moves in NBA history. After losing to the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals, Durant turned around and joined forces with the same stacked team that had just eliminated him in the playoffs. Durant could have stayed in OKC and led his own team to a championship, but he chose the easy path and joined the 73-win Warriors, who had just won a championship. This move was seen as a betrayal by Thunder fans, who had embraced KD for years as the face of the franchise. Before their move to OKC, the Seattle Supersonics had drafted Durant. By leaving for the Warriors, he spurned the loyal fans that had cheered him on from the beginning. In the minds of many fans, it was one of the weakest superstar shakeups, driven by Durant's desire for rings over loyalty. He tarnished his NBA reputation by joining a juggernaut squad that didn't need him to be great. LeBron James left the Cavaliers twice, once for the Heat and once for the Lakers. He was called a traitor and burned his jersey in Cleveland. LeBron James earned the label of NBA traitor in Cleveland for the way he left the Cavaliers not once, but twice. After spending the early part of his career with his hometown Cavs, James announced on live TV that he would be taking his talents to Miami in 2010. Cavs fans burned his jerseys and called him a traitor. After 4 years and 2 titles in Miami, LeBron returned to Cleveland in 2014. But he left again in 2018, this time for the Lakers, again sparking outrage and accusations of betrayal after promising to bring a title to Cleveland. LeBron's repeated exits left the Cavs fan base feeling abandoned. Vince Carter forced his way out of Toronto after years of frustration, tanked his play to trigger a trade to the Nets. Raptor fans viewed it as a betrayal. Vince Carter is remembered as a traitor in Toronto for the way he forced a trade out of the city in 2004. Carter had become frustrated with the Raptors after a few playoff-less seasons. Unhappy in Toronto, Carter began tanking his effort and production on the court in hopes of triggering a trade. He got his wish when he was shipped to the Nets. Raptors fans felt betrayed, like Carter had given up on them. They had embraced him as an icon, and he turned his back. Carter's burning bridges on his way out of Toronto ended his tenure as a revered star and set the franchise back years. His exit was seen as the ultimate betrayal of the Raptors organization and fan base. DeAndre Jordan agreed to sign with the Mavericks, then backed out at the last minute to return to the Clippers. Left the Mavs scrambling. In 2015, DeAndre Jordan became one of the biggest backstabbers in NBA free agency history. Jordan verbally agreed to leave the Clippers and sign with the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavs were ecstatic to add the defensive star. However, Jordan soon had a change of heart and decided to return to the Clippers at the last minute, leaving Dallas scrambling. Following the influence of Clippers teammates who visited him in Houston, Jordan broke his word. The Mavericks felt betrayed after counting on Jordan to anchor their team. The saga proved that NBA verbal deals mean nothing until the ink is dry. Jordan's last-minute betrayal left the Mavs stunned. Kawhi Leonard forced his way out of San Antonio after just 1 year left on his contract. Tension with the Spurs led to a trade to the Raptors. Kawhi Leonard damaged his reputation in San Antonio by forcing his way out of town in 2018. Leonard had grown disenfranchised with the Spurs organization after just 1 year left on his contract. Citing tension and distrust with the team, Leonard demanded a trade. This led to a prolonged drama that ended with Leonard being shipped to Toronto. Spurs fans felt betrayed after embracing Kawhi as the new face of the franchise post-Duncan. Kawhi was seen as abandoning the team that had developed him into a star. His power move while still under contract made him a villain in San Antonio. The fractured relationship stained Kawhi's legacy. Kyrie Irving requested a trade away from LeBron and the Cavs, fresh off their championship, damaged his reputation in Cleveland. In 2017, just a year after winning a championship together, Kyrie Irving shocked the basketball world by requesting a trade away from LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Irving had grown tired of playing second fiddle to LeBron and wanted to emerge as a franchise player on his own team. The timing of the request, right after bringing a title to Cleveland, made it feel like a betrayal to Cavs fans. Cleveland selected Irving first overall in 2011, and many people anticipated him to be the Cavs' linchpin for many years. His exit damaged his standing, as fans felt Kyrie was giving up on Cleveland just as they reached the mountaintop. The move marked a bitter end to his tenure. Paul George told the Pacers he planned to leave in free agency, forced them to trade him to OKC to get some return. Paul George severely damaged his relationship with the Indiana Pacers by making it clear he planned to leave the team in free agency in 2017. George had spent the first 7 years of his career in Indiana, which drafted him in 2010. With George likely to walk, he forced the Pacers' hand to trade him while they could still get assets in return. By telling the team up front he would not resign, George robbed the Pacers of the chance to make one last title run with their star. Indy fans felt betrayed, as they had passionately supported George for years as the face of the franchise. His transparent exit crippled the Pacers and made George public enemy number one. Isaiah Thomas escaped the Celtics and LeBron after being traded from Boston to Cleveland, burned bridges with both fan bases. After being traded from the Celtics to the Cavaliers in 2017, point guard Isaiah Thomas bitterly burned bridges with both franchises. After an all-star season, Boston surprised Thomas by trading him. He lashed out at the Celtics organization for the perceived betrayal. Then in Cleveland, Thomas called out LeBron James for not doing enough to make him comfortable with the Cavs. By trashing his former Celtics teammates and coaching staff, then turning on LeBron, Thomas managed to damage his reputation with 2 dedicated fan bases in the span of a few months. His outspokenness and perceived pettiness left him vilified in both cities. Jimmy Butler created drama and tension to push his way out of both Chicago and Minnesota in ugly exits. Jimmy Butler earned a reputation as a locker room troublemaker by the way he forced ugly exits from both the Chicago Bulls and Minnesota Timberwolves. Butler created internal tension in Chicago before demanding a trade out of town in 2017. He then turned around and provoked drama in Minnesota before again requesting a ticket out just 1 season later. By making waves and alienating himself from teammates, Butler schemed to get traded twice when he wasn't happy. His tactics poisoned both situations beyond repair. Both the Bulls and Timberwolves were left picking up the pieces after Butler strong-armed his way out the door twice. Jason Kidd left the Mavericks as a free agent in his prime for more money with the Knicks. It felt like a betrayal of Dirk Nowitzki, point guard. Jason Kidd left a sour taste in Dallas when he left the Mavericks in free agency in 2012. Kidd had helped lead the Mavs, alongside Dirk Nowitzki, to an NBA title just one season earlier. But at age 38 and still in his prime, Kidd spurned a title contender in Dallas to sign a more lucrative deal with the New York Knicks. It was seen as a betrayal by Mark Cuban and Mavs fans. Kidd was crucial to the championship team, and his departure threatened to waste the last years of Nowitzki's prime. The move for money over chasing rings ruptured his relationship with the Dallas community that had celebrated him. And that wraps up our list of the top 10 backstabbers and traitors in NBA history. We saw how players like LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Vince Carter shocked fans by exiting teams that drafted them or gave them max deals.